Although it's Thursday, it's a bit late. Triathlon Mockery's back. We're back, Joe. But we had some problems in Camp Oosterdijk this time. That's new, isn't it?
That is new, mate. Yeah, it's your Wi-Fi, mate. I thought you were in France for a second there.
Remember last Monday evening, we tried to record the podcast. I came back from a run. It was absolutely boiling. I was sweating behind the camera, and we were trying to record it, but there was like a 5-6 second delay every time we were talking, so it got a bit weird, didn't it?
It was terrible because I'd be talking, but it was only a delay on one side, wasn't it? Was it when you heard me talk? So you would start talking, and then you would hear my question come through, and it was impossible to put it up. It would have sounded absolutely horrific. So we decided to just hedge our bets, wait until the Wi-Fi was sorted, and just do it properly. And it seems like it's working all right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Joe, means it's a longer week. Have you got any highs and lows then? Must be. You must have
I've got
some.
a few lows, mate. I've got a few lows. I've got a big one. I've got a few smaller ones. Do you want me to start off with the smaller ones first, just to warm you up?
Warm me up, mate. Warm me up.
So a few of them aren't too bad. One of them was I bonked in the pool, mate, and I had to get out and take a gel and a load of carbs. I had to take like 75 grams of carbs. I was literally just done the warm up, and I was so hungry. I felt like I just started picking it up, and I felt really low. You know, when you feel low on carbs and you feel like a bit itchy and stuff like that. I was like that, but luckily I had some emergency gels and stuff in the swim bag, and I got through it.
We both have got this emergency kit in the swim bag, don't we?
Yeah, and so yeah, luckily I had that. The next low, which is a bit worse.
But wait, what was the? Didn't you eat before the pool then, or how come you were so low on carbs? What happened?
I went for a run beforehand as well. I don't know. It was I can't remember what day it was now. It was Tuesday or Wednesday. But I was just really hungry for some reason. It just crept up on me. And then the second low was I went water skiing again. I think I told you last. I don't think I've mentioned it before when I went on here because we started recording in the winter, didn't we? So I went water skiing and just kept flipping face plant on the floor, mate. I literally barely got off on the skis. Like I was struggling to get up. And then when I did get up, I just face planted the water and I ended up getting a load of water in my like sinuses and stuff. Felt like I had a cold because I just got just inhaled it.
Why are you picking up water skiing? What's this all about then?
Well, I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years, but I'm terrible at it. But Laura gets invited to it a few times a summer because some friends have got a lake and a boat and stuff like that. So they have some parties sometimes and do water skiing. But she's really good. She's done it since she was a child, and I keep trying it. But I'm absolutely terrible, mate.
And by the way, once again, if people are listening and want to watch it on the trainer, they can watch it on YouTube, can't they, Joe?
Yeah, you can watch this on YouTube. And do you want to know what the biggest low was about the water skiing? It wasn't the fact that I inhaled the water. It was the fact that my sister, who's normally terrible at balance, picked it up first time, mate.
Picked up first time. Natural talent on the water.
Natural talent. How embarrassing is that, though?
That is pretty embarrassing.
You can tell. You know when you can tell someone's real smug about it as well. She was proper smug. Like, I know she's never going to let me live that down now. And she was all right about it on the day. She was a bit more graceful. And then the next day, a couple of days later when I saw her, she was a bit ripping the piss into me. I knew she was going to fucking do that. She's just laid into
it's so annoying if you're, for example, she'd come up to the water and you tell her in the beginning, it can be quite hard because you got the balance, you got this and all that. And she'd be like, yeah, I'll have a little look. And then she pulls it off and you're like, motherfucker.
I know. That's exactly what it was like. I said, it's really hard to do. It's really hard.
And then she's probably like, it was actually quite all right. It was all right.
That's what she was like.
Joe, maybe you need to do this and that. It's actually all right, mate.
That's what she was like. And I was like, when I saw her, my heart dropped a bit. I was like, oh no, she's going to rip the piss at me now, because then it was my go next and I could barely get out the thing. And I managed to get up for a bit, but the bit where I got up on it, where no one saw me, was the bit where the island was blocking it. So Laura saw me because she was helping me, trying to get me up. But my sister and all the others didn't see it. So it just looked like I kept face planting the floor. I did it last year before Ironman UK, but I was even worse. And it felt like I had a cold for 2 or 3 weeks. And I had to do this thing called nasal douching. Have you heard of that?
Oh, is that a rhino horn that you put in your nose?
Yeah, to get rid of the water, to clear my sinuses out, because I got so much water stuck in there.
Exactly.
I had to do that.
It's like a big snorkel.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but I had to suck it up. I had to hold one nose, suck all this water in through my nose.
Oh, it must be so rank listening to this podcast. But go on. The next one, next low, mate.
The next one's a big one, mate. You already know about a bit of this, and that's why Tom's smiling. Basically, last week, so on Friday night, my job in the house normally when we finish watching Netflix and go to bed or whatever is to put the dogs.
When we finish watching Netflix. All right.
What are you laughing at? What's so funny about that?
Because you've got like a whole schedule. Whenever we finish watching Netflix, my job is to.
Yeah, my job's to put the dogs out, mate. Like Laura's is sort out the dishwasher and stuff like that and put that on. My job's put the dogs out for a wee. So I put the dogs out for a wee, and I got distracted. I can't remember what I was doing or what happened. But anyway, I forgot to lock the front door, which you might think, can happen, not too bad. Then Saturday morning, did the run session, went home, and then for some reason, like we've got this camera on the front of our house which picks up motion. So if someone gets close, sometimes if they walk past the front of the path, it'll pick them up. So so you sometimes pick a load of random ones where people are walking their dogs and all that kind of thing. Well, this time she was looking at it around lunchtime and she said, "Joe, someone came in the house last night." I said, "What do you mean someone come in the house?" She showed me the video at 2:23 in the morning, Saturday morning, so early hours of the morning. Someone walked down our path, tried our door. Obviously, the one night when I forget to lock the bloody thing, he opens it up and he comes in the house and we video it. We've got it on video of him leaving and he stays in for 34 minutes. He left at 2:57 and then he went back in again for 2 more minutes and then went off.
Can you call it breaking into a house?
I don't know.
Do you think he went downstairs and did a little session on Zwift?
Well, it was already downstairs. He was on that. There was no more. There's no basement. But where he came in, he would have been in the room. Literally, if he'd have come in and went left, he would have been where almost like Zwift setup is and everything like that. So he could have done a session. But I don't know where he went in the house. I was asleep upstairs, didn't hear him. My dogs are supposed to be guard dogs. They're supposed to have really good hearing. They're supposed to alert you if someone comes in. They were knocked out and didn't hear it. So he was wandering around for 34 minutes in the house, mate. Like, God knows.
34 minutes is a really, really long time.
I know. What do you reckon he did in there?
I've got no clue, but 34 minutes. I mean, you must be a real douchebag. I mean, if you get in someone's house, it's one thing, but normally a burglar or something would come in, quickly get shit and get out. This guy was in there for 34 minutes. I reckon he did a session.
Well, he must have done a session because he didn't take anything from what we've seen. Can't find anything what he took. No trace of him. But he was in there for just over half an hour. So he could have done his Zwift session. Could have been on the treadmill, hitting some miles. Could have been on the bike, on the kicker bike. That's quiet, mate. See, look, we didn't even wake us up. So I don't know what the neighbours going about when they moan about all this. So yeah, he could have done anything. I'll show you a picture, and you can post it. You can post it onto the Instagram thing, a picture of his face because we've got a picture.
He probably didn't go for a swim, knowing what your neighbours are like. They would have probably heard that.
The door was open to the back as well. So he obviously had a little look and thought, bloody hell, what do I fancy doing here? I've got a swim, I can do a bike, run. Like, I'll show you a picture of him and you can post the Midnight Zwifter up onto Instagram.
He probably thought, like, this looks like a normal house. And then he gets in. It's like, fucking hell, it's like an Olympic training center. What the hell's going on here? That's why he was in there for 34 minutes. But anyway,
he come out as well. He'd had the light on his phone. You know when people use the phone as a torch, you can see him. He comes out the house and you can see that's on. Then he turns it off. So he obviously walks in and normal, turns the light on his phone. And he's like walking around probably like that, isn't he? Like having a little look.
But damn, mate, that is quite scary.
That is scary.
I bet.
Thing, mate.
I bet Laura was flipping pissed, mate, that you had one job, taking the dogs and locking the door, and you managed to mess that up.
Oh yeah, she weren't happy.
But yeah, married man. He's already slacking. Since he's married, he's slacking the jobs.
Divorced after 2 weeks.
he thought, I've sealed the deal, I'm done now, I can leave the door open. She wouldn't mind. But yeah, anyway, don't you reckon he maybe, have you got something like extra keys downstairs that he maybe took one of them?
No, I haven't got any extra ones down there. The ones that we had were on the car. So and he hasn't taken them because we did wonder that, like, if he took the front door keys, because he could have got a copy, couldn't he? But absolutely crazy. Like, yeah, literally could have done anything. Could even be planning to come back. But we're getting better locks on the doors now, so like so it locks automatically. You know, when you shut the door. But,
Yeah. And Laura's probably wondering, I can't rely on Joe. I need to have something like an automatic lock. So if he forgets, we always have got that backup.
Yeah, basically, that's right.
All right, so that's the massive low. Can you give us a sneaky high? Have you got a sneaky high?
I haven't really got any highs, mate. Like
a nice training session, something what you cheered you up last week. Gotta be some high, mate.
I can't really think. But I had an all right. You're like, I can't honestly think of a high. Like the best high I could say was training went all right. Like it went all right, but that's basically it. I don't really feel like I've got any highs. The roller coaster's just been on some drops this week, mate. But that's below. But like, I can't really think of any high. Have you got a high? Be a high, mate.
To be honest, if you're in a roller coaster, the drops are the most exciting bits, aren't they? The lows are the good ones.
Going up's normally pretty slow and tame, isn't it? It just like builds the momentum, doesn't it? But I haven't really got any. So what have you got? Let me.
You need to build up some pretty high highs in order to get some massive lows. You know, some high drops. Yeah. But anyway, I've had some massive lows over the last couple of months, and I'm finally like massive high, mate. I'm finally back into some consistently big volume and big intensity training. I had another like awesome week of training. I'm mentally in a good state and physically. I had a really good open water swim last week where I did 5Ks in the sea.
5Ks in the sea?
Was it? Yeah, it was 5. It was almost 5.
Surely been with the current. Surely it was like starting 5Ks one direction.
Well, I'll tell you this. So we went out for 15 minutes and I was looking at my watch and I say, all right, let's go out a bit further. We went the first bit, 2Ks in something like 20 minutes, 21 minutes. And I thought like, flipping hell, there's no current. I'm just fit, you know? I'll see Jan Frodano and Ben Knuit swimming in my feet next year. No, there was like a massive current. And then we had to swim.
5 minutes on your feet, would she?
Yeah. But anyway, no, there was a massive current. It was 4K, a bit more than 4. That was what it was. But then I had to go back and you could literally not see anything. The sea would be as flat as a carpet, mate. But then the way back took me more than 45 minutes. So it was a bit more. It was an hour and 5-minute swim.
So they were grinding on the way back then.
Grinding. Like we'd say, all right, let's swim to the next beach club. So you could see the beach club in the distance and literally it would take flipping ages to get there. But anyway, 2 of them got out halfway through because they couldn't come back. So when I got back to like the point where we started, I walked over to like the people from, it's not the Baywatch, how you call it? Beach Watch? What is it?
Just call it Baywatch. It sounds like more Californian style. It makes it.
Yeah. So I walked over to the Baywatch and I said, well, there's some sneaky current there. You can't really see it, but it's pretty bad. And maybe like raise some of the flags because they waved one of the flags because it was getting mega busy. And it was about 9 a.m. Later that day, mate, in the national news that they had to get 5 people out of the sea and then raise the red flag because they were all they couldn't come back anymore onto shore.
Probably they can never get a swim in at the local pool because it's always so crowded, isn't it? So
yeah, but can you imagine you're a fit swimmer and you really struggle to get back? I mean, for like you're fit swimmer, you hardly can't go back. Can you imagine if you're like a really fat, untrained Polish guy, or we've got loads of Germans in Scheveningen? You're in the pool or you're in the water, in the sea, and you're thinking I'll do like an easy swim, mate. You'll end up in the UK. I
can only imagine, mate, of being a fit swimmer.
We know what it feels like to be a fit swimmer. But so that was an awesome session. Then 2 days ago I did another open water swim set and I swam in Milan Bronze's legs 128 per 100 open water 3K non-wetsuit swim, mate. That's training swim. What is it, like 55 minute, and towards the end we picked it up. So that's my best ever open water swim, and I was really like
for open water swim 55-minute pace for it.
Sorry? That's
your best open water swim ever, is it?
Yeah. In a training swim, non-wetsuit.
Yeah, training swim, yeah. Non-wetsuit?
Non-wetsuit. It was with swim skin.
Yeah, that's decent. And 128 pace non-wet.
And I was really, really stoked with that. And so I was really thinking like, oh, I might actually like this open water swimming if I just do it more often. And I think that's a weakness of mine because I would, you know it. I always go to the pool, do like 100s, 200s, maybe 300s. But I hate swim sets like 4 times a K or an open water swim, like 4K open water swim. But I think that's the thing that would make me a better swimmer.
Keep telling you, mate. I keep telling you.
You keep telling. I'm stubborn, ain't I?
But you've got to think, when you get to the level what you're at in the water, gains are only going to come in small bits. You're not going to get. I know.
Once you're at my level, it's really hard to improve.
Like it could take years to get down to 53 minutes, mate. 52 minutes for an Ironman.
But another high, mate. Just massive trail run. If we would have done that UTMB, I'd be ready the end of August. But anyway, so yeah, I'm really happy to be back at training. But one low was the 2 days in the massive heat wave. How did you survive that? Like it was 40 flipping degrees. Dubai was nothing. Dubai would have been chilly compared to this, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was brutal, wasn't it? I had to even get up early, mate. That's probably why
I got up at 6 a.m. You didn't believe me on Monday.
You said I got up on the bike at 6 o'clock.
I sat on the bike real quick and then I was like, I need to get breakfast and brush my teeth and all that. So I quickly get off the bike, do all that, and then leave at 7.
All right. So yeah, I got what did I do on Monday? On Monday I didn't bike. I was like, there's no point. I'm not going to go out in this because it was 38 degrees here. So I just did a swim. And that actually went really well because I was feeling pretty tired because I had a big weekend, like did some decent sessions. So the main thing I wanted to get was like get a hard threshold swim in. So I managed to do that. There you go. That could be even count as a high, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think it could.
So I banked that. And then Tuesday, Lee came over and that was another day. It was actually like, I think as warm or if not a bit warmer. That was when they recorded the hottest temperature in England. They got 41 degrees or just under. It was like 38 where I am. I did a brick session in the morning, but started early, like 8 o'clock.
What did you think of that 8 o'clock start? Because if we would go on a training camp in August in France, it's going to be pretty boiling hot. I wouldn't mind.
It was a lot better because it gives you a lot more time in the middle of the day to actually.
Exactly. That's what I mean, you were a lazy guy. I'm a lazy guy. We always start the sessions at like 9:30, but then you want to be done at 5. So literally when we get back from a ride, it's literally get lunch in and then you ready then? Let's go for a run.
Oh, no, there's no like rest. That. Never get it done at 5. I wouldn't normally start the afternoon session until like 6 o'clock or whatever. Like, I'm not a 9 till 5 guy, mate.
I actually find it quite nice to like I've been doing it over the last 2 weeks to start the bike ride like around 8 a.m. especially when it's like really hot in the day. Then you'll be done before 12. You get like 4 hours in, maybe a bit more if you start earlier. And then you could chill out a bit, do another session, and then maybe later on a night hawk. And then you've got it divided all over the day.
Yeah, like, it is better to do it like that. So
I think there's a marginal gain for us, Joe. A little bit more rest throughout the day.
Marginal gain, yeah. So I did that. And then I did a second run on Tuesday, but because it was so hot outside, it was still 36 degrees at like 5 p.m. or something like that. So I just did that on the treadmill and then went for a swim afterwards because I was like, I'll just get deplete myself otherwise. So I did that. Smash the electrolytes, mate.
Smash the electrolytes. We need to talk about that on the podcast one day. Electrolytes. That's a massive topic.
It make a good bit of listening to people that want to get put to sleep, wouldn't it? You know,
let's talk glycogen. Let's talk electrolytes.
Let's talk.
Something else, Joe. What? Oh, this was. I was thinking like a friend of mine. He's got a kid like a while ago, and he did this 250k ride last week, and then he put a picture on Strava like his bike with then this baby car behind his back, but obviously it was an old picture. But then he made people think that he did like a 250k ride on his TT bike or something with that baby car behind it, and it was so people were going like mental, saying like he got the mama mafia behind after him, saying like, "Did you went out with your baby on a 250k bike ride?"
What would be so bad about doing that? Would like if you
Dude,
like
you can't ride around with a baby for 8.5 hours on the
what if you
bike. Like
got
if
like cafes and stuff?
yeah, no, you can't
Like,
do that.
is it that bad? Like I
That's
wouldn't have been, I
pretty
wouldn't like I wouldn't even
irresponsible parenting. Yeah, I'll put the
think.
baby in the car because you could say, yeah, Laura, it's gonna be Daddy Day. I'll take care of the little one today, and you'd be going out for a 250K ride with the baby in the back.
Yeah,
No, it's
well,
not
he's
worth.
like sat down. There's no different than being in the car, is it? Like I didn't even
Yeah,
know there
but
was.
you wouldn't go in the car with the baby for that long, mate. You'd stop along the way, do a little walk.
So if you like stopped on your bike and went to a cafe or something, had a coffee, got him a drink and stuff, and then carried on, is it that bad?
Yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
bad because you can't really see what's going on in that car. Maybe she or he's overheating or whatever, overheating, needs some
Better
drink,
write, I better write some
breast
notes
milk.
down then.
Sorry?
I better take some notes.
Take some notes, mate. Take some notes. I've got the tips up my sleeve. I've been reading baby books now. No, but yeah, you can't do that. But I wouldn't. If I'd see that, I immediately know someone wouldn't do a 250K ride with like a baby car. But the Mama Mafia absolutely went mental after him. I thought it was quite funny.
Probably worse than the COVID mafia, aren't they? What I got in.
Yeah,
Remember?
back in the days. But have you seen, by the way, this? I saw this article coming online. A professional curling player, Courtney or something. She went to Olympics for curling. She's making the transition with triathlon coach Triathlon Terran to triathlon. Now I'm
Wow.
wondering, Joe, how can her curling skills come in handy for triathlon?
God, like it's not really going to help you, is it, curling? Like I'm trying to think of any way possible. You used to hit and stuff, aren't you? In curling, don't you have to hit balls out the way? So that could
Yeah.
get you used to open water swimming. You know, at the start where it's a bit violent and there's a few punches being thrown. I guess you'd be used to like knocking things, or in this case, people out of the way to get to the ultimate goal, which might be the
Well,
person.
you're used to knocking people, but not get knocked by people. So
Yeah, so like you imagine the big bit that you want to get close to is the ideal person's feet that you want to swim on, and the people that normally, you know, in curling, the balls that you knock out the way to get there, there'll be like people that are blocking you like getting in your way to stop you from getting on that person's feet. She's going to be used to hitting things out the way, so she could hit the other swimmers out the way, you know, like dunk them, push them out the way, pull their wetsuit down. I've had someone do that to me, pull my wetsuit down before.
What would a threshold curling session look like?
6 times, I don't know, 5 bowls or something down there.
Very, very aggressive, hard throwing balls.
Yeah, just proper like pound them out the way, you know, probably like
proper aggressive, no technique.
Yeah, no technique, just like full speed, like when you go to some bowling alleys where they tell you the speed, and then after a while you can get a bit fucked off with like trying to hit the actual pins down. You kind of like, if you're there with lads, you're like, fuck it, let's see who can hit 20 miles an hour with a bowling ball, and then you'll like try and do that, and then it'll go.
Is it quick, 20 miles an hour? Because it doesn't really sound quick for a bowling ball. I think it can hit like 100 k's an hour with that thing.
No, not with a bowling ball. You know, like down like proper 10-pin bowling. Like normally on the speeds, when I've said like 19, 20 miles an hour, it's pretty quick. That's pretty ruthless if you can throw that. Like,
you don't think I could do 100 k's an hour with a bowling ball?
That's 60 miles an hour. Like if you threw that at someone 60 miles an hour, like completely like snap their leg and it hit them in the shin or something. That'd be incredible.
That'd be like a cannon, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, it would be like a cannon getting shot at you.
All right, 20 miles an hour. All right, but she's making the transition to triathlon. Would curlers be doing any running before triathlon? So like a proper curler? Because they do some stepping on the floor before they throw their curl.
They're old curlers. Like I remember seeing the British team before, and some of them rolled. They look like, basically it looks like the Women's Institute or something like that, you know, that's got together and found us and decided, let's pick up a sport together. And curling seems like the sport, you know. There's like people of all ages. You got the matron who's like 60, you know, who's 60, 70, who kind of dishes the orders down. And then you've got like, it's basically like a family, you know, like the grandma is like the top dog.
I did say to all my friends at uni, if I wanted to go to the Olympics for one sport, it'd be curling with a couple of mates.
As well. I said that to my mates as well. Curling's a sport. Like if you're listening to this and you're not that great at triathlon and you think, I'd like to go to the Olympics, I thought I was going to do it. You know, what can I do? I think curling is a good bet to have a crack at, because I
But
don't know.
also, I've no clue about the level and how hard it is, so I wouldn't say curling is the sport to pick up at. But I would say it would be flipping fun, mate. Just like ragging these
You think
balls.
1,500-meter running race, 5K running race, or curling? What's going to be easier to qualify for the Olympics?
5K running race.
5K easier than curling.
Yeah, it's only like 12 minute 30, 40. What is it?
You don't have to train that hard because it's done in 15 minutes. It's done in 12 minutes, isn't it? You know, a couple of hours a week and you'll be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Or shooting, or even the horse ride, the dancing, where you get the dancing horse.
I can tell you what is a flipping hot sport, mate, is that biathlon. So it's basically this cross country skiing and then being able to shoot at a target. That's flipping hot.
Amazing at that. Lived in Sweden, was absolutely awesome, and then just stopped doing it. Was like one of the best in the country.
Because cross country skiing, like that is already pretty flipping hot. But then if your heart rate is well up, like really high up, then being able to concentrate and shoot at a target is mega hot, mate. It's really hot.
With him when I was out there, because I went there one year for Christmas. I was 12 years old then, I think, or 11 or 12. And he was shooting hundreds every time, like in the middle of the target. Absolutely.
That's good special forces training, mate. If you could do that, like really get your heart rate full up and then be able to.
You know, we were talking about the sports that are good, easier to get to for the Olympics. Dressage. Yeah. What about that? Because it's the horse that does all the work, isn't it? The horse is the one dancing.
I am curious though. If you would have a really good, like a Jan Frodeno horse,
the greatest of all time.
The greatest horse of all time, and you'd put me on it, like literally me on it, with no experience at all. You just give me like a masterclass of like an afternoon masterclass. Would it be able to do well? So maybe not win it, but because the horse is so good, would it be able to like compete? Compete, be in the mix.
Because if it knows what music it's going to go to, and someone trained it, and say they said to it, "Showtime," and then
showtime,
you said
Frodeno's ready.
Yeah, if you said showtime, Frodeno's ready, or something like that to the horse every time you trained him with a dance, and then they put you on it, and they said showtime, Frodeno's ready, or whatever, the horse would know over time, right, I've just got to do my thing. And he's just going to do
his thing. Maybe the horse would think, I'm not sure what's sitting on my back. It's acting a bit weird, but I know what to do. I've got this. I want to get a medal at the Olympics.
Yeah, he'll carry you through. He'll be like, "Don't worry, son. I've got this. I've got it."
I do wonder if that's the case.
You can screw a bad horse over, because in the Olympics last time, can you remember that team? I don't know if it was the German national team or it was one team or someone did it to the German team, where they did something to the horse before the women went out in the pentathlon, and it did really shit. And it's a big thing now about like how do you pick who has what horses, or like what horses are used, because one of the coaches in the other countries did something to the other person's horse and it messed up and did really bad, and it screwed her getting the gold medal.
But yeah, I'm really wondering if you've got that Jan Frodeno horse, you'd give it to me. Would it be able to be competitive in that dressage?
Depends, mate. If you've got the Norwegian horse, then it.
Give me a Norwegian horse, whatever. The horse can stay on a vacation in Font Romeu for 5-6 weeks, do some pretty dancing at altitude. LT1, all LT1 training, mate, and then ready for the big dance.
Well, they have all the horses in Font Romeu at the centre. That's one of their biggest sports there, so we could get you on one, I'm sure.
Flipping hell. And probably that horse going to think like, oh my God, we're fucked. I've got that heavy mozzarella on my back. There goes the medals. Anyway, Joe, upcoming weekend, we've got a massive race coming up in the PTO race, PTO in Canada.
PTO in Canada. I was originally not going to do it, and then after getting COVID in St. George, and then changing my season, I kind of thought about it, and then I thought, oh, I'll do it. But then after getting married, like having the stag party or the bachelor party, what you call it, the marriage, and then like a few days away, I kind of thought, actually, there's no point in me doing this, because I'm going to be going there like half-hearted with not much training. But I kind of thought as well that I wanted to do it because if I could just get some kind of okay result, like a decent-ish result, then I might be able to get a wild card pick for the Collins Cup. But then I kind of thought, actually, there's probably not going to get a wild card pick for the Collins Cup. There's a lot of people that have already been doing some really good results as well. And them kind of picks are always political, aren't they? You know, it's kind of like who you know, not what you do, is it? So I kind of thought, actually, give it a miss.
Is that true? I have no clue.
Well,
Would, for example, out of the blue, would I be eligible for a wild card?
He'd be eligible for a wild card, mate. If they wanted the mozzarella there, they could have him. But with
If they wanted something really wild,
yeah, I think like they should do, really. It would spice it up a bit. But they with them
at least in the back of the field.
Yeah, you could have the influencer race against Mets, couldn't you? Then as well.
And then people could bet on it, like on horses. Big Matt's out of our league, mate. He's taken off.
That would make it better at the Cons Cup if you could actually put money on. I'd like to have do a bet where, say, I put a £10 on, but do it as like an accumulator. You know, so like you bet race 1 who you think's going to win, then race 2, race 3, and each time the odds go up, and the money you win from race 2 goes into race 1 goes into race 2, and you can get some decent money on that in the end if you guessed all 6 right. But, you know, for the men's or all 12.
But also, sometimes it's more fun to bet in a more like downgraded league because you'd have some really unexpected results.
So you're saying you wouldn't want to bet on the favorite races? You'd want to bet on some of the random ones somewhere.
You want to bet on the influencer races.
Yeah, I agree. And I never bet on the favorite as well. When I'm betting on the Grand National horse race, I never bet on the favorite. I think it's a bit boring, and there's always someone that can step up on the day, isn't there? What some of them horses,
I know
the others.
No, but for example, have a little. If you wanted to bet at the Formula One race, it's kind of a bit situated who's going to win or who isn't. Whereas if it would be the regional go-kart championships, you'd have absolutely no clue. You've got Lucky Ducky, you've got Fast Francis and all them. And it'd be more like, well, let's have a fun day out.
I go to Great Yarmouth races, mate, and have a good one, which is probably the lowest of the low for horse racing. You know, they've got horses with 3 legs sometimes, and sometimes they even slip a donkey in the races. And
shut up, a donkey.
Yeah, the people in Great Yarmouth don't really know what a horse looks like, some of them. So sometimes a donkey can go in there. I mean, it's got to be a fit donkey. A well-trained donkey can beat an untrained horse. Honestly. So sometimes you get a donkey turn up because, you know, they do the donkey rides on the beach, don't they, on the seafront?
Oh, yeah.
They put kids on. Sometimes them donkeys that have been walking all day, they're pretty fit and they can train. They can do a little bit.
Are you taking the piss or is this for real?
Being serious. It's Great Yarmouth horse racing, so it's lowest level horse racing. But if you train a donkey that's been doing that specifically for just 3 or 4 weeks beforehand, it's pretty good shape, mate. Pretty decent. It's impressive. I've bet money on a donkey before. It didn't win, but it gave a good showing.
I do. I've been to one of the horse races. Our main subject of the week is horses, by the way, because we're thinking of horsepower and all that. I've been to one of them horse races once, pretty close to The Hague. There's one. It's good fun though with mates. You just bet like €1 or €2, and on you've got no clue what horses doing what, but just got funny names and gets pretty exciting.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's pretty decent.
So we should have that in triathlon as well.
Yeah, I've bet some money on Magnus Ditlev before for Challenge Daytona.
Where? Oh, you could bet on that. All right.
Yeah, you can bet on it. Sky Bet, mate. I've got all the bets I bet on. I bet on Gustav Eden each way. So obviously got some money back with that.
We should actually be sponsored by a betting company, Joe. They like risky stuff.
I know. My 3 bets for the race was Sam Long each way, Gustav Eden each way, and Ditlev. I lost money on Sam and I lost money on Ditlev, but luckily Gustav pulled it out the bag, and I basically broke even.
But his odds are going to be pretty terrible at the PTO Canadian race, then.
Yeah, they probably will be. I mean, I'm not even 100% sure if it was on there. I just saw it up for Daytona because someone posted it up. But Ditlev was doing well. Then he cramped up. I remember it because I know. Leading at one point. I thought, yes, come on, top 3. I'm going to get some decent money because he was a bit of an unknown then. Then he pulled up. I thought, oh, no. My money's down the drain. Thanks, mate.
Anyway, Joe, what do you think of the race? You've seen the list. Some pretty big hitters are going there.
I think it's going to be a good race, and I'm looking forward to seeing Gustav and Christian going head-to-head. That's a big one. And Lionel Sanders, because he's really good at this distance. 20-metre draft zone as well, which I've heard is going to make it a lot better because it means that it neutralises the swim, so it doesn't have as much of an impact, because when it's 10 metres, 12 metres, you get in a pace line after the swim, and you're pretty screwed if you're behind, especially if there's a few motorbikes and stuff. But I mean, even this, if there is like some motorbikes that get apart, I mean, if they pull one person away at the front, the person who's like second, if they're 20 meters behind the other person, they're not going to get any benefit. So it makes it a lot fairer race. I just hope that the course isn't as quick as the normal courses, because when like the Challenge Daytona and the Miami Speedway course, the speeds are all so high that if people are doing 45, 46 Ks an hour, if you're riding at 48 kilometers for an hour, you're only gaining 2.5 minutes, to go 2 Ks an hour quicker. But that's a huge amount of power.
Yeah, the watt output to be able to do that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, basically, the power output you have to do is massive. If you lose 2 minutes in the swim, you're only 30 seconds up after the first hour, and then you've only got 30 more kilometers left. So you're only going to get another minute, basically, in a quarter by the end of the bike. But you've had to work.
Whilst you've been pushing like 50 extra watts.
Exactly, yeah. So then you're a lot more cooked, and then you run a lot slower. So it just makes it a bit rubbish. So hopefully the course is slower, and it tests the bike handling a bit more. So people that are good bike handlers and got good on the climbs can really come to the fore. You basically want it. What I'm saying is to test the biking a lot more, so the runners have to catch the cyclists down. It should make it a lot more entertaining a race.
But is what the PTO is doing, for example, with this tour and all that, is really good for sport, because they're paying literally every pro, like literally every pro that's going there is getting money and will be able to cover their trip, right? The flight and the accommodation.
Pretty
or something
much.
Like
well,
that.
That's what I looked into it,
yeah.
and that was one of the reasons why I was thinking of giving it a punt, because there's no risk, like pretty much. I mean, they got a deal with the hotel, so they contacted the hotel, and they basically said to all the athletes, like, we're not going to pay you to go, like an appearance fee or like give you free accommodation, but we've got a deal for this hotel, and we'll do all the transfers from Edmonton Airport, and we'll take you back and forwards to all the stuff, and all the media stuff is at the hotel. So it was mega easy. And the deal worked out something like 1,000 Canadian dollars. I think it was like £600 for the week for 7 days. And then the flights from Europe I saw were like £800. So basically 1,400 quid. But you finished lowest. The lowest position was like $2,000. So basically, if you finish last, you get your money. So there's no risk.
So first of all, it's an incentive to finish the race, which I think is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Second of all, there is like loads of support for like every pro that's out there, and the level that's going there is like really, really high.
Yeah,
I think is really, really important, because if you look, for example, let's quickly have a little look at Kona, for example. If you want to go there as a professional, or as an amateur, but let's say you're a professional, your flight's is probably going to be like 1,500 quid. Then accommodation out.
I worked it out the other day for me on what I can get for at the moment, and it was £1,000 for flights at the moment to get there, like return. So
yeah, but then you need your bikes and all that as well with you. So let's say £1,200, which is like €1,500.
All right, say £1,200 to get to Kona return, and then I look the accommodation. What I've seen, I got screwed over the accommodation. I told you this, but I haven't told some of the others. So I booked some accommodation in 2019.
Some of the others. Let's tell the friends, mate. Tell the friends.
Yeah. So I booked accommodation in 2019 after the race. I was really organised for change. Also, I booked flights, and the company scammed me as well. Like, really annoyed about that. Still haven't got the money back. But that's another story. But anyway, booked accommodation. I stayed there in 2019. So I said to them, can I book it again for next year? They said, yeah. Then every time it got cancelled, I moved it. Like, they would let me move it. And then the last time when they moved it to this year, I tried to do it. They wouldn't let me do it. She gave me a refund. It was £170 a night, and then said, oh, yeah, but you can book it now if you want. We've just got a new price. The new price was £400 a night. So instead of charging me like £1,700 for 10 days, which is what I'd paid and what it was originally, she's like, yeah, you can book it again. It's £4,000 now for 10 days. Just like, come on. Because they've made the race now in 2 days, there's no accommodation hardly. And you're looking at £4,000 to £4,500 for 10 days. And
so it's about 5,500. Let's say, €5,500. But then foods and all that is mega expensive there as well. So let's say in total.
And then you've got to go to Maui or somewhere. You want to go somewhere hot to train if you're a pro, because there's no point going straight to Kona. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to go there and do well, I want to be training the heat for 3 weeks before. Otherwise, I don't really see the point. It's not like you're just going there to tick the box. You've been there 4 times. You go in there to either get the podium or like try and win it. So if you want to go to Maui for say 3 weeks before, you're talking like another $2,000 at least, $2,500. So basically, you're talking $8 to $9,000 just for flights, accommodation, and everything like that, not including like the extra.
Yeah, and if you want to make it like break even, you need to finish like top 6, 7.
Top 5, mate. Top 5, I reckon. Like
top
to
5.
actually really make it, because 5th place from when I last looked was $20,000, but you get taxed 30% straight away.
There's literally no support.
You can't use it against your own taxes because they'll automatically tax it first if you're from anywhere else other than America. So basically, $6,000. If you finish 5th, $6,000 is gone before you can get it. Gone on the tax, 20%. So you only get $14,000. So you get about $11,000. Obviously, you'll get some sponsor bonuses if you're 5th, because in my experience, they go down to about 5th place. So if you get 6th, you get a bit rolled because you don't get any bonuses, and that screws you a lot more. So basically, you can get some bonuses, but you'd probably only make about, I don't know, 20 or something. You know, if you get 5th, you'll maybe get 20 or K or maybe a bit more profit. But if you get 6th, you're probably literally just breaking even because you're not going to get any bonuses. And I think you get $18,000, but 6.
That's why we need to get in all the influencer bits, get on the gram, do this, do a podcast, because otherwise, Joe, we wouldn't be able to. But that's what I mean.
The PTO race. It's great that they're helping you out so you can go there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could go to Kona and you finish last and you at least cover your costs, it's going to be a lot more attractive for pros. But I mean, for a lot of the pros, basically, if they finish 7th place or under, I would say they're probably losing money. Like the trips actually probably cost them more, especially now. Not in the past, but now I've seen that accommodation's 2.5 times the price.
Yeah, that's a massive game change, because in the past you could get something for like £1,000 for a week or 10 days, like with like a family, whereas now it's 3 times, 4 times the price. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and loads of the accommodations, Waikoloa, 40Ks away. So who wants to stay 40K? So the PTO are doing that really good, because then it means that people are going to be like, yeah, I'll give it a chance, and then they might get some breakthrough results. Or if they get, say, a 10th place, then the money's really good for that. The only downside with me with the PTO races is the distance of them. Like, they're less than a 70.3, and I think ideally the distance should be between a 70.3 and an Olympic. It should be in the middle, and it should
They've got one long distance race next year with a 4K swim, 166 bike, and something like a 30K run, something like that, I think.
Is that what it is? I don't know. I mean, Ironman distance or something. Why has it got a 4K swim is like the worst part.
Mate, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought ideally in my situation, let's say 3K swim, because it's longer than the half, 3K swim, 70K bike.
100K race then, so they're doing 4K, 160K, and then 36K. Is that what
something
they're doing?
like that? Something like that, or 166 and then 30 or 34
Yeah, like that's random, but like I think like the distance should be in between anyway, because then it should be the half distance guys racing the full distance guys, and then obviously invite as many short distance guys as you want. But it's like they come up to our distance rather than us making it less.
And the hard thing is that a lot of the short distance guys, they're all being funded and supported by the national federations. You know, they're racing for South Africa. They're racing for.
That's their choice whether or not they want to step.
Exactly. So if you're racing for a federation, well, at least that's what it is in the Netherlands, you'd get a salary. You get like £2,000 or something like that a month, like a basic fee. So you're always sorted. You have all your, and that's not even including bonuses, races, and all that. So you have a salary, and then they step up to, for example, PTO races. I don't know how it is in other countries, but it's just, and then the distance is like shorter than a half.
Yeah, because I think the PTO, the whole point is it's meant to be for long distance pros and aiming for long distance races. So I think the races should be in that middle bracket. And then it's like, if you're a short distance guy and you want to do it, that's cool. But you're like stepping up to the long distance. You know, it's not like we could go to the ITU and say, oh, I see you're racing the Olympic distance, but there's a few of us who are doing long distance that want to race an ITU race. Can you make it an 80K bike and a 20K run or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like it is what it is. Like, if you want to do it, you know what the distance is. It's like, and they might find that they like it. They might find that they do better over the distance and decide to do more of them. But yeah, I kind of think the distance at the moment, it's not really long distance. You pick a mega quick course, the bike's done in like an hour and 40 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like 80K.
But the moral of the story is that it's good that what the PTO is doing, and that they're bringing like loads of support for the athletes. So hopefully it's paying off. They'll it's even getting broadcast on Discovery and on Eurosport. So that's all good, mate. I think we should head over to a bullshit buster. But before we go over to the bullshit buster, we were just talking about Kona. Now, if you'd like to get Triathlon Mockery over to Kona, we've got a Patreon page, and we've got 250 backers of the show. But if you're able to support us, we so now and then give these little chunks, these nuggets of knowledge, and that's just free coaching, isn't it? And normally, coach, what do coaches charge nowadays? $200 a month, $300 a month,
mate. And if you or you could sign up to the Motive app, couldn't you? And become
exactly. Well, the Triathlon Mockery for $5 a month, $5, literally a lot of knowledge, and we do have something that we're setting up as of next week for the patrons.
What's that?
the behind the scenes show, Joe.
Oh yeah, the behind the scenes show. Yeah, get sign up.
Because we were thinking that if you're a company, you want to support us with something in Kona or just on the show, we've got some pretty impressive numbers. Slide in that DM, baby. Let's go over to the bullshit buster, Joe. Bullshit buster. I've got a massive bullshit buster. So the bullshit buster is, if you're on Strava, and we love that app, don't we? We love the Strava app.
I love Strava, yeah.
I love Strava. But one thing that really bugs me is the Strava temperature. It always underestimates. It never makes a really hot interval training look really impressive. It always says, for example, if you've been doing an interval session in 34 degrees or in 50 degrees, it would say something like 19 degrees and a cool breeze from the east. I'm like, where the hell did you get that from?
We were training somewhere and it was like that before. I don't know.
I think it was Dubai.
Yeah. And it was like always telling us that it was like cooler, wasn't it?
Remember when we did that ride through the mountains in 42 or 43 degrees because we were too lazy to get up at 5 a.m. So we went to like 9 and 10 a.m. and like peak heat.
Did we go at like 9 o'clock?
Yeah, we went like really late in like peak heat. It was bacon mozzarella.
But Celsius in the car on the way back, didn't it? And my skin felt like it was melting. Like
on that uphill bit, it got over 40 degrees. It was over 40. It was something like 42, 43.
I went up there before and did a 10-minute max effort, and my heart rate was the same for about 100 to 150 watts less. It was that hot. I lost 30% of my power.
But anyway, I remember coming back and it said something like 23 degrees, 24 degrees. Where does it get that information from?
It's from the start of your session, but I think it's still wrong. So like whatever the temperature is at the start, it thinks is what you've done it in. So if you start at like 5 a.m, it's going to say it's mega cold. If you finish, and then compared to what it was at like 10. But I think half the time it's still out, especially when you go into some hot places. Like I've done it before in Strava and it said, like you say, 22 degrees. And you're like, no, this is like near 30. I'm like absolutely rooted like after this.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a bullshit buster. Before we get over to the Instagram post of the week, quickly review the show. If you're on Spotify, you can review the show. If you listen to a few episodes, like that'd be really, really awesome. We've almost got 1,000 reviews, Joe, on Spotify. We just need a few more, 1,000 reviews, mate. 5-star reviews. So thanks everyone that's taken.
Don't head over to Spotify and review it, but you can review some other podcasts like Pro Tri News.
Why is that?
Well, if they're going to give a 1-star review, we don't want it, do we? You know, they can give it to someone else, can't they? You know?
Yeah, but not to Pro Tri News, mate.
All right, give it to anyone else, as long as it's not us. I've got you.
Anyway, you had an Instagram post of the week, didn't you?
This is my Instagram post of the week. I absolutely love this.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, have a little look. Now, Joe, can you describe what's going on there? What's going on, mate?
It is our man who's been on the show as the Instagram post of the week before. It is Ben Canute doing his explosive gym stuff. And I don't know what it is, but it just makes me laugh. It's just like different than what I've seen anyone doing in the gym. And I could just imagine if I was doing this, he's like jumping back, pulling a rope towards him. It almost looks like some kind of like clip what you'd see on like a Rocky film, doesn't it, or something, or like some like like if you watch like an Adam
it would be a Rocky film training, but then a mashup.
Yeah, but do you know what it reminded me of? You know, like the actor, like Adam Sandler, if you got him to do a role where he was like pretending to go into the SAS or like the military, and they showed you like a gym thing, it would almost be like that, where it's like meant to be serious for the film, but it's like taking the piss a bit, isn't it? Like, it's just funny. And
do you think he's actually for real, or he's taking the piss a little bit? Like over the last few months, I've been shown some
real, 100% real, which is why it makes it even funnier. It makes me laugh. And also, I remember him doing the other one where he was like properly like frosting. Can you remember on his
his hip thrust at 180 BPM?
Yeah, had like weights on. He'd like got this barbell across him, weighted up to the absolute rafters across him, and then he's lifting it up and proper thrusting. And do you know?
And not a slow thrust. It was properly pumping
it, not slow. It wasn't like he was doing it to some R&B. It was like he was doing that to like Tom's like Dutch hardcore German playlist. And you know what it made me laugh? Because I had to come to my head like hip thrust for days. And it made me think, happy wife, happy life. You know, he's obviously got used to doing that. He's been doing them moves before, hasn't he? You know, can you imagine?
He has. And to be honest, if you look at, for example, that video what he's posted up right now. So everyone, if you're listening and you want to see the video, give it a little like, give that guy a follow. Because he's got some pretty.
If your partner's not cutting it, check out Ben Canute's hip thrust, you know, and just show
exactly. He's got some pretty behind the scenes epic gym stuff that people don't want to share, because this is the extra percent, isn't it? People don't want to share this stuff because it's the extra percent.
It's the extra percent after 10 o'clock.
But if you look, I secretly think if you see him doing that move, like with the band and the jump in and all that, do you think he's secretly training for the Skippy Ball Olympics?
Mate, I just watch their moves and I'm like, maybe if I'd have started 15 years ago, I could have done some moves like that. You know, I bet he's electric on the dance floor, don't you? Like, I bet if you got him on the dance floor, he'd be absolutely pumping it, don't you? He's like flexible.
I don't know, mate, but I do know good old Ben is fruity, mate. He is. Do you know? He's my age. He's my age.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Man, we need to get Ben on the training camp. I bet he's, could you imagine the end of the training camp? He'll be like, come on, boys, I'll show you the moves.
But, it reminds me a little bit of that yoga session where our other mate was with. But
we did a session in New Zealand, and was it one of the girls farted in one of them, didn't they?
I don't remember.
Can you not remember that? But what about the bit you're remembering is when our friend made a big like groan, didn't he? Like
it was
really
so we were coming in a bit late, like fashionably late, 10 minutes to the yoga session, and we were picking up this. We were looking for extra percenters, so we were thinking yoga's our next extra percent.
We did a load of them in the end, didn't we? We did like 4 or 5 classes.
We did a shitload of yoga that week. I think we clocked more yoga than aerobic sessions on the bike, mate.
Yeah, I think.
But anyway. We went into this yoga class, and so we showed up a bit late, and the class was absolutely ramped, and we were all divided through the room. You and Seth were sitting on the right, and I was sitting all the way onto the left. And then I remember we had to lay down, and then she was like, so the instructor, she said, now you can relax and breathe out and really relax and all that. And then all of a sudden, on the right side of the room, I could hear our friend like Sat moaning something like.
People might have thought that was me, mightn't they? You just knew it was him.
I thought originally like, is one of them taking the piss? Because I was in stitches on the other side of the room, and then he was doing it again, like really loud moaning, and he was actually serious, wasn't he?
And then there was another yoga class that we went to while we were out there in New Zealand. And can you remember that woman that would like put you in like really awkward positions, and she'd have to like help us because we couldn't quite bend round, could we? Can you remember?
I remember that. You couldn't bend, mate. You couldn't bend. She had to put you in all sorts of positions. I forgot about that.
I thought I was quite good.
No, see, I remember that, and she was like, "Oh, you need some work, boy."
But she would literally like grab hold of you and move you, wouldn't she? But the way she did it was like it was a bit dodgy, wasn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know, but I do
I
know.
think if I did that to a female in a yoga class, I don't think I'd be like doing yoga anymore.
You'd be doing yoga behind bars, mate.
Yeah. But it was quite. And then I remember the other one we went to, and you had to do a prayer. Can you remember? You had to do a prayer as well on one of them. When they started doing it, we didn't know what to expect, and it was almost like you turned up to church or something, wasn't it?
Was it? What was it? This one?
It was like that yoga chant thing. What they did, it sounded like a prayer or something. Like, I don't know. It was like some kind of song. What they did.
I don't know, but I do remember that I was really enthusiastic and I wanted to do it back in The Hague, and then COVID hit. One thing that I do think is quite relaxing is this Bikram yoga. So it's kind of a sauna yoga.
Oh, that's horrible. That is. It's
Is it?
Wet loads.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I like a sauna.
Absolutely cooked, mate.
We've got the sauna battle. We haven't had a sauna battle in a long while, Joe.
I have got a sauna battle story.
Have you? Have you got it ready? Have you got it set up?
Give me 2 seconds, and then let me finish the podcast with this sauna battle then.
All right. But so this, I think, is quite nice to do a Bikram yoga, mate, like sweating, and in the meanwhile, challenging someone to a downward facing dog in boiling heat.
So this is from a guy who's been listening for a while. He says, "Hi, Joe. I've been loving the podcast recently and just have to let you know about my first official sauna battle last week. I was traveling at the weekend and at an away ground. As you know, Tom, like it's always harder when you're at an away ground, isn't it? You know, in football, like when the team goes to another stadium, you don't different rules, different temperatures.
You don't know the sauna, you don't know the temperature, you don't know.
Like I know the local characters of mine, like people that I would not want to battle with. You know, they are hard motherfuckers. You know, so you've got to pick the battles wisely. This guy had no idea, so it was a massive disadvantage. He went in with no intentions, no intentions to battle, just a nice 15 minutes. That was all he wanted, 15 minutes in the sauna, boom, done. But then 2 minutes after he sit down, a fat old man comes in with 2 750ml bottles of fizzy water and flipped the 15-minute timer over.
Can you go in? I mean, people that are overweight are absolutely incredible in the sauna, but can you go in with 2 bottles of fizzy water?
We can't if you're doing the sauna battle, but when you're taking on some other one. So this guy came in after, he comes in that, he's obviously the guy that sent this to me, he says, I thought, fuck me, this is on here. So I start to prepare mentally. So that guy's coming in. So
you can battle someone that's got all the supplements in the world, who's actually doping, sauna doping.
But you can't use them because you think, you know you're doing this sauna battle. This other guy doesn't necessarily know, does he? He might get the intentions because I think after a while, when you've been in there and it's just you two, the tension rises and they know, don't they?
True. But that's if you look each other in the eyes and yeah,
that's part of the battle. So then he thinks, all right, I think the worst case, he's going for the full 15. So I think, okay, 17 minutes for me, no problem. I can do it. He's sitting forwards, head in his hands. And after a few minutes, I'm thinking, this is an easy win here. I'm just going to sit in his draft zone to the end. So the guy, look, he's got his head in his hands. He's smashed. He's thinking, Jesus Christ, like these 2 bottles aren't going to get me through.
He smashed 2 flipping bottles.
Well, he hasn't smashed them yet, but he's got them in there, isn't he? He's got them in there. He's got them with him.
Yeah, all right.
So he said, of course, he says he made no eye contact. Key tactical move there. If he'd have made eye contact, the other guy would have known this motherfucker's like taking me off. But I let him see the timer on my watch, playing the mental games to let him think I'll be finished before his time is up. So yeah, he's playing the mental games. He lets him see the timer. Hold on, let me see. But I let him see the timer on my watch. Yeah. So he shows him the timer. So he's basically making it think that he's cruising. He's got this in. So he's letting him see the watch. So the other guy's struggling. He lets him see the watch to basically make it look like I've got loads in the tank here. You know, he's playing the mental games, trying to gradually fuck with this guy's head. He's down in his water, getting through the 1.5 liters. I'm trying to act casual, like I'm sitting on the beach, but the heart rate is rising. I think that's the worst bit. When you start feeling that heart rate going up, you know.
Yeah, that's when, same in an Ironman, once you're in that state, you know it's too late. There's no way back. You can't ease that one off.
Any person who's doing endurance sport knows it, don't they? The pace is the same, the heart rate's going up. it's not going to be pretty from there on. That's where it starts getting mental. He says his watch timer goes off for 15 minutes. I let him think it's over. Then I hit reset, 15 more minutes. So he's been in there for 17 now already, because he was in there for 2 minutes before he started on his watch. Of course, he says, I'm never lasting that long, but he doesn't know that. So I'm watching the timer out the corner of my eye, not long left. He's definitely going to crack. I'm struggling, but the poker face is on. His timer ends and he gets up. I've won. He walks over to the door and then flips the timer over and then sits back down. Oh my God. He basically played with the same mental tricks as he was playing on him. He even says he's played me at my own game and he's broke me. I can't let him know I was waiting for that. So I grind through another minute before admitting defeat and leaving. Straight in the cold shower for a few minutes, and he still didn't even appear. An absolute beast. Wow.
The legend says he's still in there.
Yeah. The legend says he lives in the sauna. And so disappointed himself, he says, for losing my first official battle. But this guy was a pro. He had 2 bottles. He had plenty of fat to keep his organs.
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether I think if you got bottles like that, in combination with like the body composition, which is already in his advantage. So it's like you're on an e-bike, mate. He
didn't need to take that guy on, did he? It was like going to Old Trafford, mate, and taking on Manchester United. If you go to Old Trafford and you take on Man United, you're going to get a hard game, aren't you? He went to an away game. Yeah. He took on the hardest.
What do you think? What do you think the guy had? Do you think he had any electrolytes and all that in his bottle?
No, he's a big lad. He probably just had Coke or something like that. Coke and Sprite or something, I bet he had just carbs.
Whipped cream. 2 bottles of whipped cream.
2 bottles of whipped cream and a cake for rewards when he dusted this guy off. This guy's a pro. He's like top of the game, mate.
Well, all right. So we finished this week off with a song battle. We're right over an hour, Joe. So long enough. So don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe to the podcast. You can watch it on YouTube, and make sure to support our patrons channel. So
I'll tell you what.
There's a kit. If I can go to Kona, I'm racing a 10-year-old kit on the beer mile, on a 0.0 beer mile. I just got challenged today, Joe.
One thing me and you have got to do this week before we record next week is take someone on in a sauna battle and report back on how it went for our low or high of the week for one of them.
All right, I'll try and see what I can do.
I'm good. I'll take someone on in a sauna battle and I'll let you know how it goes.
All right, let's get it.
Pray for Joe.
It's race week. All right, see you next week, mate.
Bye.